I'm Andrew. I'm a key account executive at FreshSense and also head up our B2B marketing team.
I'm Mark Johnson, Executive Vice President at FreshSense, and our focus is really on just helping large retailers grow their business.
I'm Christy Labor. I am a partner and I lead our strategy group at Smashbrand. As an agency, we are data-driven brand development, and we really work with our clients to optimize positioning, innovation, and then package design and brand identity to make sure that what we're doing is going to sell well when it hits retail shelves.
FreshSense originally was started quite some time ago, and really for the last, I would say, 10 plus years, there's been a strong desire to bring it more into the modern space. Aesthetically, a lot of our designs had kind of aged or showing a little bit of an age. Well, our desire was really to identify an agency that data driven. That was a big part what we wanted. So having an agency that was data driven was absolutely critical. We also wanted them to have a creative understanding, as a lot of our products meld art and science together. And so that was an important part of what we needed as the end result. And we wanted a company that had a track record and had experience of bringing brands these kinds of needs. We made the selection. We went with Smashbrand's, their core elements of combining strategy, creative testing, and all the things that go along the way really gave us confidence. We were heading down the right path. We could just keep taking steps forward and discovering, what was next and what we needed to do at that particular junction. And that gave us confidence knowing that, we were in good hands.
We intentionally partnered with the pros here. It set the stage for all of the insights and findings that we were going to give them. We wanted to talk up front about how we made an intentional investment with you guys.
Branding and package design and positioning is one of those things where a lot of that credibility, I think, really does matter. It's work that actually works in market. It adds value, of course, not only to the consumer and understanding your product and knowing why they're buying it and finding the right thing that is going to fit their needs. So it adds tremendous value to the business as you guys are able to sell more, and in turn sell more just in the packaging alone, which drives your profit margins and the retailer's profit margins, right?
One of the things we discovered early on in the process with Smashbrands was really narrowing in on identifying who our customer really was. Of course, we had a general idea, but we were able to really isolate that. We ended up naming them the Sachet Loyalists. We were able to also extract data to show this is 11% of the category consumer and confirm she actually is 40 years or older. That's an additional 26% of the category consumer. And we were able to identify this customer as what we call the fragrance fanatic. And they had some different interests and needs they were looking for in products. They were 18 to 35 years old, which was exciting to us as far as just kind of getting that next generation on board with the product. They were a lot more sensitive to a modern aesthetic. So we knew we needed to lean more that direction from visual and stylistic standpoint. They were heavy users across multiple formats. So we knew we would just be kind of one of their offerings that they wanted. We learned that they are going to use 6 different forms of fragrance at one time.
This visual was really helpful in communicating to our retailers, look, we're not abandoning the customers that we already own. We're expanding this offering. We're not switching consumer bases. We're simply broadening the appeal.
That's right. Sometimes brands can not see the bigger picture when you think too exclusively about consumer target. You can actually have more than one target, and it's incredibly useful to think about consumer from the standpoint of who do you already have, but just by the nature of existing, they're going to find you. Okay, if they knew about your product, or maybe if you just positioned it a little bit different, right? And you don't have to abandon your current at all. You keep them, but just by making that little bit of adjustment and maybe how you look, maybe the orientation of your message hierarchy in your pack, right? To sort of fit into this bigger group's world, you can double, triple, quadruple your volume while keeping your current. These consumer segments actually came directly from data from a habits and attitudes study that we fielded in May of 2024. So this isn't made up hypotheses. It is data driven. realities of these real consumer segments and really what makes a difference to them, and how Fresh Scents as a great brand can fit in to serving these consumers' unmet needs. Really starting with that consumer first and the realities of their habits and attitudes on the category unlocked new opportunities for the brand going forward.
We were under the impression that most customers were using it out of sight. The packaging definitely drives that curiosity around the purchase just because, you know, people don't display their cereal boxes on the counter either. They don't walk into their pantry to admire how pretty all the cereal box front panels are, but it matters for that point of purchase in terms of whether that consumer buys it. And I think that sachets do this thing in homes that's different than other fragrance products. Sachets are uniquely suited to certain fragrance applications, and I think we do a much better job of calling that out on the package.
If you think about that fragrance fanatic who's using 6 or more fragrance products around their home, you can see here in some of the consumer verbatims that we got back in the habits and attitudes study. I think the first one really hits it. I use sachets in spots that I wouldn't use other scented products. If these are fragrance fanatics and they're fanatical about fragrance, why would you not want fragrance in small places too? We're talking drawers, closets, like cars, smaller mudrooms, laundry rooms, you name that. To me, what really struck me is, oh my gosh, sachets are literally feed all of the consumer needs, but they're not getting the credit. These are a superior format to almost any of every other format. This is honestly one of the best possible scenarios for a category growth story.
I think the biggest call out that we always mention is the duration. We had just kind of struggled with this idea of like the duration because, well, we don't control exactly how fast it gets out to stores. And there's this period where it's on a truck and then it's in a DC and then it makes it out to the sales floor and all this. Everything has a shelf life as it makes its way to the store, but consumers need to know how long it lasts. And it just gave us the confidence to say, we need to put that on there because the consumer deserves to know and they deserve that clarity that helps them, make that purchase decision. So love that we are now calling out the duration on the new packaging.
This page is such a powerful page because it shows how the work we did really was data driven to fit the needs of our target consumer for growth, and that's fragrance fanatic. Look how important long-lasting fragrance is. It's almost as important as the scent type, and it wasn't even mentioned on Fresh Scents at all. And so we fixed that problem with the new packaging look and feel.
We're coming into these conversations and we're saying, we recognize that we're deficient in a couple of these areas, in a few of these areas that are very, very important. I do feel like buyers receive this information differently because we were coming in and saying, we recognize that we've got some issues that we've got to correct, and we were able to correct those in the process.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And not only do we recognize we have issues, we know exactly what they are and we know exactly how to fix them. It's not just redesign for the heck of it. It is a data-driven redesign that fixes problems and improves even more the strengths.
This is the slide that the buyers definitely lean forward and start to study. All of these products now have a name that you can find in the same location. So now they'll be able to identify. So we're really pleased with having that conventional name placement.
Now you've got this sort of aligned yet different expression of the brand that works really well for the channels. We have sort of signature Fresh Scents, right, which is all the way on the right, bigger pouches. It's what you guys built the business on, and that's that wonderful legacy product. And then on the left was called Sparkle City. So now instead of two different brands, you've got a master brand with two platforms. Brand architecture would be you've got a brand, and then within there, what's your message hierarchy or even how your products show up. Whereas portfolio architecture is a little bit bigger. It's linked to your business strategy. These different collections are meant to have a different value proposition. And there is a strategy behind where they are sold and not sold so that you don't have a channel conflict issue.
And while we're talking about how far we really zoomed out on this project, I mean, another thing to call out in the new packaging is that on the front, we are calling it what it is, a scented sachet, because our customers were calling them all kinds of different things, right? I think it's great that now on the very front of the pack, when someone buys it, they're going to read that it's a scented sachet. That helps consumers communicate with each other.
You're absolutely right. We did a lot of testing with different ways to actually name the product that we hoped would communicate not only what it is, but how to use it. We do know, and you guys told us this, we saw it in some of your reviews and, TikToks and things, and that actually helps for continuity for the brand and product too, because today they were called sachets, but I don't know if people understood what a sachet was. But you say scented sachet. Now they get it.
This is where, you know, the buyer's trying to hold back a grin. They're trying to keep the cards close to the vest, but they are pleased to see that, this process, we can say, ended with a 10-point jump in percentage purchase intent. And we like to highlight for small places among millennial and Gen Z respondents. And the signature is somehow an even better story with a 14% jump.
Yeah, so the response has been overwhelmingly positive from buyers as we've unveiled the rebrand. You know, some of it was comments that they probably have been feeling for a while, but maybe were a little bit reluctant to share with us. And this is super exciting. Some retailers are in various stages of big initiatives themselves where they're doing their own refresh and reinvent. And so this was perfect timing to come alongside. But I think the real excitement's going to come in a couple of months when they start telling us, okay, we love this. I think it's going to exponentially grow the new customer base.
We're appearing alongside a lot of their other national brand offerings, but they wanted to keep the Freshness brand, not venture into private label or private brand. They wanted to kind of keep that front and center for their consumer.
Oh, fantastic. So maybe they were exploring doing their own sachets, but you guys stepped up as the category leader. That's excellent. Woo!